And welcome back to the start of a brand new Naruto What If. Now, this is not going to be a long Naruto What If, actually, because of where it starts in the story. This is, what if Naruto left the village instead of Sasuke? So there's a lot we have to unpack with what that means. But first, a brief shout out to our sponsors today. No, to the people who requested this particular one. That would be Quinlan 9000, Luke Morehouse, Timothy H. Sorry, I might be getting that one wrong. Blake B. and Thomas Smith. Now, you'll be surprised how many variations of Naruto leaving the village there are. Like I've got Naruto leaving and starting his own village. Naruto leaving with Mizuki. Naruto, leaving for other reasons than just instead of Sasuke. But we're talking about the specific scenario here. That's not to say those kind of scenarios couldn't happen within the scenario, but that's not the topic. We need to figure out, talking about this what if, two different things. Number one, why doesn't Sasuke leave the village? Because it's instead of Sasuke, which means Sasuke stays. And two, and the more important reason, why does Naruto leave the village? So let's first address the easier one in the room, easier elephant to address in the room. Why does Sasuke stay? Well, there's actually a very easy way Sasuke can stay. It's that he's not swayed by the Sound Four. He's just not persuaded by them. I think that's pretty easy, actually, to figure out why he would stay. That even though, the power is very tempting, I think that his more level-headed self prevails, his loyalty to his friends, all that. And so when when the Sound Four are waiting for him to show up, he never shows up. And they're like, crap, he didn't buy it. And we can't linger around here forever. We need to go. Lord Orochimaru's not going to be happy about it. No, he won't be. And so that's how Sasuke stays. So why, then, does Naruto leave? And that's the one was racking my head around. Because now Sasuke's here. He was challenging Naruto. They had their fight. Naruto still sees he's got a long way to go. All that. Really, there's not much reason for Naruto to leave, theoretically. But is there anything we can do to make him leave? Well, I'll say this. You could, in theory, do a scenario where, yes, and that's probably what we're going to do. When I say you could, in theory, theoretically, that's what we're doing. Naruto, after his fight with Sasuke, goes to reassure Sakura, who then sees that Sasuke stays and all that. Sasuke, actually, I can see where Sasuke is going out for that walk, and he is just going out for a walk, and she's just happy that he's staying there, all that. And I think initially everything's fine, but as time goes on, Sasuke's attitude just rubs Naruto the wrong way, and Sakura continues to bolster him. Naruto's starting to see that he kind of isn't belonging anymore. And I think it gets further compiled with a higher ups to making demands of Naruto, or making demands of, I guess, Kakashi of Naruto, Tsunade of Naruto. I think it's a matter of displacement and just ultimately just finally not feeling like he belongs anymore with this village. Now, granted, this is a bit of a stretch. There's not a lot in the scenario to warrant that. But again, when talking about this what if, we're going to have to take liberties because there's nothing in this scenario. There's no him going to Orochimaru, which we've done that pretty much already. We've done that what if. But there's no him going to Orochimaru because that's not what the what if is. And we've already done that one. There's nothing within the title or the suggestion that would really indicate why Naruto would leave. So we kind of have to create a reason. And to be fair, this is a thing that has plagued Naruto throughout his life in the village. Being displaced, being hated, all that. And he's never let it get to him. So the question is, why would that happen now? Why would he suddenly just feel hated, like feel like no one's caring anymore? Like it's just not worth it anymore. Why would that be? Well, there's actually a few things we can look at for that. A, the death of the third. The third is one of the only people who really like tried to like look out for him and like be a kind figure to him. Yeah, he's got Iruka. Yeah, he's got friends, but I mean, how good of friends are they? He doesn't mind Hinata. We know that. He even said, I kind of like people like you. Kiba's just an ass, but whatever. Sasuke, he considers his best friend, but let's be honest, Sasuke at this point isn't going to be very sociable to him. Sakura, oh my god, I literally just watched. I saw a clip earlier today. I was like at work. I'm like going through my phone. I'm on break. Then I saw a clip from Boruto where he went back in time and he saw the interaction between Sakura and Naruto where she's just beating the hell out of him. And Naruto was legitimately cowering from her. I'm like, oh god. Like, I get it. It's a trope, but oh man, like, where do you think you get off treating someone like that? Oh my god. And I don't get me wrong, Sakura does chill out as the series goes on, but I still think that's there. I've granted she's not gonna. I don't think she's going to be hating on Naruto that much, but so I think for our reason for Naruto to leave the village, it's got to be a combination of loneliness and displacement. Loneliness, not so much because he does have peers and friends to talk to, but displacement and just the feeling of hatred, like, and the feeling of just people still not liking him or anything like that. So that leaves us now with Naruto making the decision to leave. And he leaves his headband behind. He leaves it on the door of Iruka and says thank you. Like, he says the goodbyes he needs to say. Like, he says there was one, I read a fanfic a while back. I think it was, oh god, was it called No, it wasn't called Mizukage. It wasn't. Basically, it's where he ended up going to the Mist Village. And the way it basically worked was, how he left was, he saw Konohamaru and he basically said, hey, you want to help me do one more prank for the village? And he basically, talked Konohamaru into helping him sneak out of the village. And I could see that happening here too. I think that actually be a really good way to go about it. But I think he says his goodbyes to the few people he had. Team 7, Kakashi, all that. And so he leaves. And he leaves on his own accord. Now, luckily, we know at this point in time, the Akatsuki aren't going to be coming after him. We know that they're going to be waiting about 3 years to go after him. That's why Jiraiya wanted to train him up. And so, yeah, Naruto will have time to grow. Let's first tackle the reaction for everyone leaving finding out Naruto left the village. A lot of people are just stunned and can't believe this is the case of what happened. They just can't understand why this guy is why this friend of theirs just left. Like, Hisito, he's so happy and go lucky. Team 7, like, even Team 7, the Hokage, Tsunade is just like she's devastated. Like, this is the kid who helped bring her back, and she, like, all of a sudden he leaves. And I think he would at least give an explanation to the people who he actually cared about. To Kakashi, to Iruka, to Tsunade, to Jiraiya, to the people who actually, he gave some shits about. And then maybe even a couple of his, like, one big, letter to his, like, the few friends he had. About, how this village doesn't, I can't be hated anymore. I just can't deal with this. And every day that goes by, it doesn't get better. I mean, it doesn't get worse, but it's not improving that much. And the longer I stay here, the more I realize I'm not among you guys. I'm not with you guys anymore. So, it pains me, but I gotta go. I gotta be on my own. And so he leaves the village. And Sasuke, I think, is very unique in terms of his reaction, where, yes, he also was considering leaving the village, but he didn't do it. And Naruto's gone out on his own, and now he's realizing just how it feels to have someone, a friend you consider a friend, abandon you. And he realizes now that he can't do that. Like, he's not going to do that to anyone here. So he is, so he's dealing with a lot. And Sakura just can't believe that this happened either. She's not weeping like what she did with Sasuke. It's like, oh, the promise of a lifetime, bring him back, or or whatever. Not promise of a lifetime. My request of a lifetime, bring him back, please. Like, whatever. No, but she's still sad. Just doesn't understand what's going on. Hinata's just, oh god, she's inconsolable right now. Naruto leaving, she's just terrible wreck. Neji's also Neji, I think, would be an interesting case where he kind of acknowledges that Naruto decided to take his own destiny in his hands, basically. Um, so it's like, yeah, once again, he's actually proving Ned's you're right. You control your own destiny. So yeah, how is he going to be Hokage now and all that? And everyone's just asking, and Tsunade's like, we will find him, we'll bring him back. Now, granted, Naruto's had a good head start on this. The question is, where was he going to go? And I think the first logical place he would have gone is actually the Land of Wave. I think that's the first place he would have gone because he has people he knows and cares about there. So and he doesn't necessarily want to just defect to another village. That just means he's not a rogue ninja who's just defected to another village. He's not going to do that to them. But at the same time, he's just trying to figure out what to do with his life at this point. And so he eventually reaches the Great Naruto Bridge. And he's they named the bridge out to be cool. And he goes over and you can see that. And we know how the Land of Wave ultimately ended up being. It actually ended up being a very prosperous nation after the bridge is built. So Naruto goes and he finally, and now granted that was 3 years after, we know that. But I can at least imagine that it's a much better state now than ever was. So, or than it was previously. So Naruto goes and he, knocks on the door. He's like, Naruto, you're here. Where's everyone else? Where's Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke? They're not here. It's like, hey, Naruto Ninja, hey, Nari, how you doing? It's like, well, so what are you doing here, Naruto? And he explains to them what happened, and they're all kind of like, it's a shame, though I'm not surprised for everything you told us about you and what we could see. And it's like, yes, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need, Naruto. It's like, thanks. That means a lot. I don't want to stay here too long, though. They're going to probably be looking for me. And so Naruto decides to spend time there. And he's training. He's practicing a little bit. He's like, hey, Naruto, you want to see something cool? And it's like, yeah. And he shows off the Rasengan. I was like, whoa! It's like, yeah, I learned that a little while back. Yep. I can also summon the toads. And I can also do this. And he summons toads. Although, thanks to Dry, he knows to keep some bags of chips on. Summons Gamakichi. He's like, hey, cool. Hi. It's like, yo, I'm Gamakichi. Gamakichi. Naruto, what's up? No, I was just showing off the summoning. Yeah, By the way, Naruto, everyone's kind of looking for you a little bit. What's going on? And he explains it. And, it's like, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but Jiraiya's going to be looking for you and all that. It's like, yeah, could you promise not to tell him where I am? It's like, oh, all right, but it's going to cost you. And he gives him like an extra candy bar or something like that. Sweet. All right, you got a deal, buddy. And so him and Gamakichi are on terms like, okay, I won't tell anyone where you are. So he spends probably a few weeks there or at least a couple weeks there before he, decides to head out. And so Naruto basically says, okay, if I'm not going to be Hokage, then what am I going to do anymore? Because this is Naruto kind of giving up on his dream, at least for now. So, maybe I could start my own village. Yeah, that'd be cool. But who's going to start a village of me? I'm only a Genin. And so he's got to think, like, I got to work on improving myself and, getting stronger. And he thinks, well, where am I going to go from here? Because him and Gaara aren't like necessarily the best of friends yet. I mean, they're definitely not in terrible relations with each other or anything like that. They're definitely colleagues, but they're not going to be a lot of ums today. They're not going to be like say, hey, Gaara, yeah, woo. It's like, he just has to think. I was like, where can I go? I mean, all right. So he just decides for the time being to, kind of just sub shop in the woods and just kind of keep training on and working on what he's got because he doesn't have any jutsu he can work on really. And that is kind of what goes on for like the first year of Naruto being away. He keeps ahead of Jiraiya. I think he also ditches his normal clothing because he knows he's going to stand out. And people's like, oh, yeah, I saw a blonde hair and orange wearing ninja. Yeah, the good kid here. So he's ditched the outfit. And he goes out and he's just kind of just working on himself for like the first year. Like I said, no real jutsu, just perfecting what he has, perfecting chakra control. And I think he even after another year of just working and training on it, I think he gets the Rasengan. I do think he can do a one-handed Rasengan now. The reason you might be asking, well, he had 3 years to do it originally. Why didn't he do it then? Well, that's because Jiraiya was focusing on teaching him other things that really weren't that impressive, like trying to control the fox's chakra. Not very successfully, mind you. Only getting up to 3 tails, and even then, barely having control over that. Creating a bigger Rasengan. Genjutsu stuff. Basically just doing his fundamentals the whole time. Or like not really teaching him anything. Of like severe that had a severe effect on him in the second part of the series. So yeah, like I think like Naruto, he's also can't eat ramen as much anymore, so he actually grows a lot taller. Like he's already growing, his hair's getting shaggy. He's like, I don't need a haircut or something like that. And he opens his froggy wall. He's been frugal and saving, been living off the land. I think though after a while, one of the things that happens is he comes across maybe some rogue ninja or something like that, or like bandits, and he ends up helping out some people, and bandits end up running away, and they give their thanks to him. It's like, well, you can stay with us for a while. And I think what would happen is he ends up probably finding some jutsu. Somewhere, some way, somehow. He ends up finding like some scrolls from like old like villages or whatnot that help him in terms of his training. Because those things, it's amazing how those things can just show up. I think we can look a little bit towards like filler arcs and something like this. Because for instance, he could, in theory, go find be a part of the whole Ragna thing, one of the 7 swordsmen thing where he had the Kiba blades. But I don't think we're going to do that because the Kiba blades were still sealed away in the big scroll with all the other swords except for Samahata, which was sentient. Because when they summoned him, even like Zabuza's blade, which was in the armory in Kumo, was able to be summoned. But what I do think we could see him do is finding some more useful like ninja techniques, like some basic elemental jutsu. I think Naruto doesn't know what his element is because he doesn't have chakra paper. I think he just kind of starts learning things because even though you have an affinity for something, you can learn any of the other elements. It's just that if you have an affinity towards that element, it's significantly easier and your attacks are significantly more powerful. So I think Naruto maybe finds some basic jutsu and maybe even tries to remember jutsu from the village. I think he maybe does stumble upon like the Gale Palm technique and quickly learns it without too much difficulty because it is a basic technique. I think from memory he tries to do I think he tries to learn the fire gym because he's trying to do from memory like the hand signs. And like he's trying to remember how Sasuke did, just finally goes, fire style, fireball jutsu! And he remembers, okay. And I think because of his connection to Kurama, who is technically a fire demon, if you want to be technical, he's a fire fox. He's fire fox. I think because of the connection to Kurama, he is able to, think words here, actually perform fire jutsu with some degree of success, but he has to practice on it. He spends a lot of time practicing on that. He's trying to remember any other jutsu that he can think of. Unfortunately, he can't remember how Kakashi did the Chidori, because he never actually saw the Chidori. I mean, he saw Sasuke do the Chidori, but he can't remember the hand signs for it. Really at all. Even though there was only, like, I think 2 or 3. It's like, Naruto's like, I can't, and even though he tries putting chakra, all he's doing is making a Rasengan and it's bothering him. So I think that's where he is. Like, he's trying to learn some basic stuff on his own. And I honestly think that is kind of where in terms of where it ends for Naruto, because eventually, because Naruto is Naruto, he's not the brightest at the moment, although I think he is like getting a lot of world experience right now. I think about the 1.5 year marker where he's now got fireball jutsu down, he's got the Gale Palm, even remembers like some other techniques and like he remembers seeing some of the water techniques from like Haku or Zabuza, or even Kakashi when he uses them. I think he maybe even has. I'm trying to think of one of the water techniques we could have. that he could have seen the hand signs for. What is one of the water techniques he could have seen the hand signs for? I guess in theory he could have seen the water prison jutsu technique hand signs. We also know he would have seen the water dragon. He would have seen the water vortex. And we don't. I mean, I don't think he saw the water needles. So there's that. I don't know. I think weirdly enough, him trying to do the water prism would be kind of fun. And I think where we're going to end this video is kind of where he's actually practicing the water prism on a clone. And I keep saying prism, but it's prison on a clone. And I think he actually finally succeeds at doing it. Like, oh, you've been learning a lot you've been practicing a little bit, haven't you, Naruto? Naruto just hits and says, you finally found me, huh, Jiraiya-sensei? What the hell were you thinking? And so, where we leave part 1 is Jiraiya finally finally showing up and finding Naruto. Because let's be honest, Naruto, as clever as he is, would not be able to avoid like Nin and a Hunter Nin and all that for a while. So, yeah, Jiraiya finding him makes sense. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.